In the Gaslight Effect, Robin Stern takes you beyond simply identifying manipulation. She shows you how to reclaim the narrative of your life, turning every moment of doubt into a fortress of self-assurance. Gaslighting doesn't just steal your confidence, it warps your sense of reality, leaving you questioning your thoughts, your actions, and even your identity. But Stern's guide is like holding a mirror up to the manipulator's tricks, exposing them for what they truly are, desperate attempts to control you. Picture this: every time you feel that nagging sense of confusion or self-doubt, your gaslight radar kicks in, like a superhero instinct. Instead of spiraling into fear, you rise with unwavering clarity. You see the subtle comments designed to erode your self-worth. You recognize the emotional bait that once would have trapped you in a cycle of guilt or insecurity. Now, you're immune to it. Stern empowers you to embrace emotional courage, the bravery to walk away from relationships that no longer serve you, the strength to demand honesty, and the wisdom to choose connections that elevate you. She reminds you that your worth is not determined by how much someone loves you but by how deeply you love yourself. No longer will you shrink to fit someone else's distorted version of reality. This book is an invitation to emotional freedom, where manipulation has no place, and your personal power is unshakable. It encourages you to take back your voice, stand firm in your truth, and build relationships that nurture your growth, rather than stifle it. It's more than survival, it's your roadmap to living fearlessly, authentically, and unapologetically on your terms. The Gaslight Effect is like a hidden battlefield in relationships, where emotional warfare quietly unfolds between two people, the gaslighter, who craves control and validation to prop up their fragile sense of power, and the gaslightee, who unknowingly gives away pieces of their reality in pursuit of the gaslighter's approval. The gaslighter's need to be right isn't just stubbornness, it's a survival mechanism. Their power comes from manipulating your view of the world, making you question your thoughts, feelings, and decisions. It's as if they hold a mirror to your insecurities, magnifying them until you can't trust your own reflection. This dynamic thrives in your moments of vulnerability, especially if a part of you already believes you're not enough on your own. If you're seeking their validation, if their love, praise, or acceptance feels like the key to your wholeness, the door to manipulation swings wide open. A gaslighter senses this need and seizes it, using it as a weapon to make you question everything you once knew about yourself. They plant seeds of doubt, making you second-guess your instincts, and over time, you find yourself trapped in a cycle of confusion and self-blame. But here's where the empowerment begins. The moment you understand this dynamic, you can break free from it. Stern shows you that you don't need anyone's approval to define your worth or reality. The gaslighter's power over you dissolves the instant you recognize that you are enough, just as you are. You hold the key to your own validation, and once you claim that, their manipulation has no place to take root. This book isn't just about recognizing gaslighting, it's about rediscovering your own strength and reasserting control over your life, your truth, and your reality. When you stop allowing someone else to define your worth, the gaslighter loses their grip, and you emerge more powerful, more confident, and more in tune with who you truly are. Sometimes, the stakes in a gaslighting relationship go beyond mere disapproval, way beyond. The gaslightee might feel trapped in a web of consequences so severe that breaking free seems impossible. Imagine being a parent, raising children with the gaslighter, and feeling emotionally or financially unable to face the daunting reality of single parenthood. In such a case, the gaslighter wields immense power, using your fear of disruption and instability to keep you stuck. Or picture being in a toxic workplace, where your boss is the gaslighter, and challenging them feels like risking not only your job but your entire career. The fear of professional fallout keeps you silent, even though you know you're being manipulated. It doesn't stop there. If the gaslighter is a family member or close friend, the gaslightee might worry about damaging relationships within the family or social circle, leading to isolation or shame. The gaslighter preys on these fears, knowing that you value harmony and approval within your social network and that you'll likely avoid confrontation to keep the peace. And then there's the most sinister weapon in the gaslighter's arsenal, the emotional apocalypse. This is where the gaslighter takes emotional manipulation to the next level, threatening you with explosive arguments, a barrage of insults, or even the ultimate fear tactic, threats of self-harm or suicide. It's psychological warfare, designed to push you to your breaking point, making you feel as though if you don't comply, everything will spiral into chaos. The fear of this apocalypse keeps you in a constant state of anxiety, willing to sacrifice your own well-being just to avoid the impending storm. But the empowering truth here is that the gaslighter's power over you thrives only in the darkness of fear. Once you recognize these tactics, you can begin to strip them of their force. You don't have to accept their version of reality. By reclaiming your inner strength and facing these fears with support and courage, you can dismantle the emotional stranglehold they have over you. You'll see that no matter how daunting the threat seems, your mental and emotional freedom are worth the fight. The gaslighter operates from a deep, desperate need to be right, not just for the sake of an argument, but to bolster their own fragile sense of self. They need to feel in control, to maintain power, and to validate their existence through manipulation. To them, being right isn't just about winning, it's about survival, and they'll do whatever it takes to maintain that illusion of superiority. On the other side, the gaslightee often puts the gaslighter on a pedestal, idealizing them and craving their approval. This longing for validation is what makes the gaslightee vulnerable, opening the door for manipulation. They may overlook the red flags, dismiss their own instincts, and silence their inner voice, all in the hopes of securing the gaslighter's love, acceptance, or even just peace in the relationship. It's a heartbreaking dynamic where the gaslightee sacrifices their own reality to preserve the relationship at any cost. But here's the critical insight: gaslighting, as destructive as it is, relies on both parties playing their roles. The gaslighter is, of course, responsible for their manipulation and deceit. Yet, the gaslightee also bears responsibility, not for the abuse, but for the participation in the dynamic. Their vulnerability lies in the need to idealize, to win approval, and to maintain the relationship, even at the expense of their own well-being. The empowering takeaway is that the gaslightee has the power to break the cycle. While the gaslighter thrives on control, the gaslightee's strength comes from reclaiming their autonomy, recognizing that they don't need anyone's approval to feel whole. By acknowledging their own worth, independent of the gaslighter, they can dismantle the foundation of manipulation and take back control of their reality. This isn't about blame, it's about empowerment, about understanding that while you can't control someone else's actions, you can control how you respond and what you accept into your life. Gaslighting at its core is a dance, a toxic gaslight tango, where both participants play a role in keeping the manipulation alive. The gaslighter thrives on control, twisting reality to suit their need for power, while the gaslightee often stays in step, seeking approval and validation, even when they sense something is wrong. This tango requires two, the manipulator who pushes and the one who allows themselves to be pulled in, each feeding off the other's participation. What makes gaslighting so insidious is that it often disguises itself as love. It's a form of stealth bullying, wrapped in the cloak of affection. The gaslighter might be a spouse, a close friend, or a family member, someone who insists they care for you while slowly chipping away at your sense of self-worth and reality. You feel something's off, a lingering unease, but you can't quite pin down the source. Gaslighting gives a name to that creeping doubt, allowing you to finally recognize the abuse for what it is. One of the key behaviors of gaslighters is their refusal to take responsibility. They deflect, deny, or undermine the person calling them out. If you've ever tried to address an issue and found yourself questioning your own credibility instead, that's gaslighting at work. The gaslighter warps your reality, making you doubt the validity of your feelings, thoughts, or experiences. But here's where empowerment comes in. Look to your flight attendants. Just as flight attendants signal whether turbulence on a plane is minor or indicative of a larger issue, the people around you, those you trust, can serve as your barometer for emotional turbulence. Whether it's a friend, family member, or therapist, these are the people who can offer clarity when your own judgment feels clouded. They can help you distinguish between a normal rough patch and a pattern of emotional abuse. Gaslighting only works when you let it, when you believe the gaslighter's version of events and crave their approval. Once you start trusting your own instincts and relying on your flight attendants, the gaslighter's power over you weakens. You realize that your worth is not dependent on someone else's distorted view of reality. With this awareness, you can step out of the tango, reclaiming your sense of self and rewriting the narrative of your own life. Gaslighting has a sneaky way of creeping into your life, making you question your reality and feel trapped in a cycle of confusion. It may not always be obvious at first, but there are certain telltale signs that something is wrong. If you recognize yourself in any of these experiences, pay attention. These could be red flags that you're being manipulated. Constant self-doubt. You're always second-guessing yourself, unsure if you're making the right decisions. Overthinking sensitivity. You keep asking, "Am I too sensitive?" repeatedly throughout the day. Workplace confusion. You feel like you're losing your grip on reality, even at work, wondering if you're imagining things. Apologizing constantly. You find yourself saying sorry all the time, especially to people like your parents, partner, or boss. Questioning your worth. You wonder if you're good enough as a girlfriend, wife, employee, or friend, as if you're always falling short. Unexplained unhappiness. You can't understand why you're not happier, even though everything seems fine on the surface. Making choices for them. You shop for yourself with your partner's preferences in mind, not thinking about what you actually want. Defending the gaslighter. You make excuses for your partner's questionable behavior when talking to friends or family. Withholding information. You keep things to yourself so you don't have to explain or justify what's going on. Feeling something's off. Deep down, you know something is wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Lying to avoid conflict. You start lying just to avoid the gaslighter's hurtful comments or distorted views of reality. Difficulty with simple decisions. Tasks like choosing what to wear or where to eat become challenging, as your confidence wanes. Walking on eggshells. You think twice before bringing up even the most innocent topics, afraid they'll trigger a negative reaction. Anticipating problems. Before your partner comes home, you mentally prepare, running through a list of things you might have done wrong that day. Loss of self. You feel like you used to be a different person, more confident, more fun-loving, more at ease with yourself. Avoiding direct contact. You start communicating with your husband through others, like his secretary, to avoid conversations that might upset him. Feeling incompetent. It seems like no matter what you do, it's never right or enough. Children protecting you. Your kids start stepping in, trying to shield you from your partner's behavior. Unexpected anger. You find yourself feeling angry at people you've always gotten along with before, as if your frustration is spilling over. Hopelessness. You're overwhelmed with a sense of hopelessness and joylessness, as if life's color has faded. These signs can be subtle, but when they pile up, they form a clear picture of emotional manipulation. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward regaining control and rediscovering your own strength. The key is in breaking the cycle, reclaiming your voice, and realizing that your happiness and self-worth don't depend on anyone else's approval. You deserve to feel secure, valued, and at peace. A gaslighter's sense of self is so fragile and flawed that they can't handle even the smallest challenge to their view of the world. Any disagreement or differing perspective is seen as a threat to their carefully constructed reality. In their mind, their version of the world is the only valid one, and anyone who questions it risks triggering their deep-seated anxieties. This insecurity drives them to control and manipulate others, ensuring that everyone around them conforms to their perspective. If you don't, you leave them vulnerable to overwhelming anxiety, which is something they are desperate to avoid at all costs. For the gaslighter, it's not just about controlling others, it's about self-preservation. They must protect their fragile sense of self by forcing others to adopt their worldview. If you dare to challenge their narrative, they'll push back with all the tools of manipulation, trying to twist reality until it matches their version, no matter how distorted it may be. This relentless need for control isn't just about power, it's about keeping their internal world from unraveling. The stages of gaslighting. Stage 1. Disbelief. What are you talking about? The first stage of gaslighting often begins with sheer disbelief. Your gaslighter makes an outrageous statement, such as, "That guy who asked us for directions was really just trying to get you into bed." You're left stunned, unable to comprehend what you just heard. It feels so absurd that you think you must have misunderstood or that maybe he's just joking. In this moment, you're caught in a fog of confusion. You might let the comment slide, chalking it up to a miscommunication, or you may attempt to correct him, albeit without much energy or conviction. You could engage in lengthy arguments to defend your perspective, yet deep down, you still feel relatively certain about your viewpoint. Although you desire your gaslighter's approval, you don't yet feel a pressing need for it. You're still holding onto your sense of reality, even if it's starting to feel a bit shaky. This initial stage can be disorienting. You may find yourself questioning your own judgment but still maintain a glimmer of clarity. The gaslighter's outrageous claims and attempts to manipulate the narrative create a crack in your confidence, but you're not entirely ready to surrender your truth. This disbelief serves as a pivotal moment, the first step into a deeper entanglement of emotional manipulation that can escalate if left unaddressed. Recognizing this stage is crucial because it's the beginning of a dangerous dance. You might still have the power to assert your reality and challenge the gaslighter's distortions before you become too entangled in their web of deception. Stay aware, and don't let the absurdity of their statements slide. The sooner you confront the gaslighting, the better chance you have of reclaiming your truth. The stages of gaslighting. Stage 1. Disbelief. What are you talking about? In the first stage of gaslighting, confusion reigns. When your gaslighter makes an outrageous claim, you're left grappling with disbelief, questioning whether you misheard or misunderstood. This moment is filled with a mix of frustration and anxiety as you try to comprehend what just happened. You may feel like you're on shaky ground, but there's still a part of you that clings to your own reality. Stage 2. Defense. Maybe you have a point. As you transition into Stage 2, the atmosphere becomes charged with the need to defend yourself. You're no longer just confused, now you're actively searching for evidence to counter your gaslighter's claims. This stage is characterized by obsessive thoughts and a desperate need for validation. You replay conversations in your head, trying to convince yourself, and your gaslighter, that you are right. In this stage, you may frequently feel anxious and on edge, as you sense the gaslighter tightening his grip on your reality. You might find yourself saying, "Maybe you have a point," even when you know deep down that something feels off. You've become so invested in winning his approval that you've shifted your perspective to align with his, often at the expense of your own feelings and beliefs. As your gaslighter escalates his tactics, shouting louder, hurling sharper insults, or employing the dreaded silent treatment, you feel an overwhelming urge to appease him. It's as if you're trapped in a cycle where your sense of self-worth hinges on his approval. This constant defense mechanism may feel normal, but in reality, it's a subtle form of self-betrayal. Stage 3. Depression. It's all my fault. Stage 3 is a dark and painful descent into depression. At this point, the emotional toll of gaslighting has left you exhausted, worn down by the relentless pursuit of your gaslighter's approval. You might begin to internalize his criticisms and manipulate your reality to fit his narrative, thinking, "If I could just do things his way, maybe I'd finally earn his love." This stage is marked by a sense of hopelessness, where your efforts to argue or prove your worth seem futile. The stages of gaslighting. Stage 3, depression, it's all my fault. In stage 3, you find yourself trapped in a whirlwind of exhaustion and despair. This stage is marked by the overwhelming realization that you've adopted your gaslighter's point of view as your own. You've begun to marshal evidence on his behalf, striving to validate his perspective rather than your own. The heartbreaking truth is that you still believe you need your gaslighter to feel better about yourself. You cling to the idea that his approval is the key to boosting your confidence and reaffirming your identity in the world. By now, you're not merely entertaining your gaslighter's narrative, you're fully embracing it. This can lead to a deep sense of disorientation and confusion, as you wrestle with the feeling that your worth is inextricably linked to how he sees you. This phase is particularly insidious, as it feeds on your trust and vulnerability. When the gaslighter is someone you've known and trusted for years, the betrayal feels even more profound. It's bewildering to realize that the person who once made you feel safe is now the source of your pain. The more time you spend in this stage, the easier it becomes to blame yourself for the turmoil in the relationship. How could the problem possibly be him, you might wonder? It must be me. This internalized blame can be paralyzing, amplifying feelings of inadequacy and despair. You may question your own thoughts, emotions, and reactions, leading you further down the rabbit hole of self-doubt. 3 types of gaslighters. Gaslighting manifests in various ways, and recognizing the different types can be crucial for understanding your situation. The abusive gaslighter. This type employs overt manipulation and emotional abuse, often using insults, threats, and intimidation to control their victim. Their tactics are clear-cut, making it easier to identify the toxic nature of the relationship. The nice guy gaslighter. On the surface, this gaslighter may appear to be caring and supportive, often showering their partner with affection or romantic gestures. However, beneath this facade lies a manipulative intent. They may use kindness as a tool to disarm their partner, making it difficult to recognize the subtle forms of control at play. The Glamour Gaslighter, when he creates a special world for you. The Glamour Gaslighter is a master of illusion, weaving a magical tapestry that captivates you with romance and charm. He creates a world that feels exclusive and enchanting, drawing you in with lavish gestures, sweet words, and an intoxicating sense of adventure. In this special realm, everything appears perfect, until the glitter begins to tarnish, and the harsh reality of his manipulation surfaces. This gaslighter distorts reality with finesse, dismissing your feelings and concerns as unreasonable. When you try to voice your discomfort, he counters with a smile and an insistence that nothing is amiss. His charm and charisma create a fog of confusion, making it difficult for you to pinpoint the source of your unease. You find yourself caught in a web of enchantment, where his glamour overshadows the troubling behavior you initially recognized. As time passes, the allure of his romance may cloud your judgment. You might start to doubt your instincts, convincing yourself that your concerns are trivial in the face of the captivating world he's created for you. If everything seems so wonderful, you think, then maybe I'm the one who's overreacting. In this way, you may begin to accept his distorted view of reality, further entrenching yourself in his gaslighting grasp. The psychological turmoil can be staggering. You oscillate between the joy of shared moments and the pain of inner conflict. The moments of affection and romance act as a smokescreen, distracting you from the troubling signs that lurk just beneath the surface. It's as if you're trapped in a beautiful, gilded cage, where the fear of losing the romance makes it hard to confront the ugly truth. Breaking free from the glamour. Recognizing the signs of glamour gaslighting is essential for reclaiming your sense of self. Here are steps to empower yourself. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, trust that intuition. Don't dismiss your feelings as irrational or unworthy of consideration. Seek support. Share your experiences with trusted friends or family. They can provide an outside perspective that can help you see the situation more clearly. Set boundaries. Establish what behaviors are unacceptable to you. Communicate these boundaries firmly and be prepared to uphold them. Document your feelings. Keeping a journal can help you articulate your thoughts and emotions. It serves as a reminder of your experiences, allowing you to track patterns over time. Educate yourself. Understanding the dynamics of gaslighting can empower you to recognize manipulation when it occurs. Knowledge is a powerful ally in reclaiming your reality. The Glamour Gaslighter may create a dazzling facade, but beneath it lies the reality of manipulation and control. By reclaiming your narrative and trusting your feelings, you can break free from the enchantment and rediscover your true self, free from the shadows of gaslighting. Remember, you deserve a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding, not one cloaked in illusion and confusion. The Glamour Gaslighter, the illusion of perfection. The Glamour Gaslighter is the quintessential charmer, often exuding an irresistible allure that draws you in with the promise of a fairy tale romance. He can be the most attractive man in the world, a masterful creator of magic and fantasy, making every moment feel extraordinary. However, this enchanting facade can serve a darker purpose. In a healthy relationship, romance is a beautiful way to nurture connection and affection. But when a partner uses glamour as a shield, it becomes a powerful tool of distraction. If he showers you with flowers and gifts to deflect criticism for his lateness, or if he hurls insults cloaked in compliments to leave you breathless and bewildered, you may find yourself caught in the snare of glamour gaslighting. The insidious nature of this manipulation lies in its ability to make you question your own feelings and perceptions. You might start to doubt your instincts, believing that perhaps you're overreacting or misinterpreting his actions. The Good-Guy Gaslighter, when you can't quite say what's wrong. Enter the Good-Guy Gaslighter, whose charm and seemingly noble intentions can make it even harder to recognize the manipulation at play. He embodies the traits of a gentleman, thoughtful, caring, and attentive, but there's a subtle undercurrent of disrespect that leaves you feeling confused and unsettled. You may sense that your needs and concerns are brushed aside, yet he maintains a facade of goodness that makes it difficult for you to articulate what's wrong. This type of gaslighter often engages in dismissive behavior masked by kindness. He may say things like, "You're being too sensitive," or, "I didn't mean it that way," making you question the validity of your feelings. As a result, you may find yourself in a perpetual state of uncertainty, unable to pinpoint exactly why you feel disrespected or overlooked. It's as if he's trained you to second-guess your instincts, creating a psychological labyrinth from which escape seems impossible. The power of recognition. Awareness is the first step toward liberation. Recognizing these behaviors can empower you to reclaim your sense of self. Here's how to navigate the complexities of a relationship with a glamour or good-guy gaslighter. Identify the patterns. Pay attention to moments when your feelings are dismissed or trivialized. Take note of how often compliments follow hurtful comments or how romantic gestures coincide with deflection from accountability. Trust your feelings. Validate your emotions. If something feels off, it's essential to acknowledge that feeling rather than brush it aside. Communicate clearly. Express your concerns directly. Use I statements to articulate your feelings without placing blame, making it harder for him to deflect responsibility. Establish boundaries. Be firm about what behaviors you will not tolerate. Setting boundaries is crucial in maintaining your self-worth and dignity. Seek external perspectives. Share your experiences with trusted friends or mental health professionals. They can provide clarity and help you see the situation from a different angle. Prioritize self-care. Engage in activities that nurture your sense of self and reinforce your worth outside of the relationship. Cultivating your independence can help you recognize your value apart from the gaslighter's influence. Conclusion. The glamour and good-guy gaslighters are both masters of manipulation, using charm and romance to obscure their toxic behaviors. By recognizing these patterns and trusting your feelings, you can break free from their enchanting grip. Remember, you deserve a relationship built on mutual respect, trust, and genuine affection, one where your voice is heard, your feelings are validated, and your reality is honored. Embrace the journey of self-discovery and empowerment, and reclaim your narrative from the shadows of gaslighting. The Intimidator, the bully behind the mask. When it comes to gaslighting, not all perpetrators operate under the charming facade of the Glamour or Good-Guy Gaslighter. Some display their manipulation through blatant intimidation and aggression. Enter the Intimidator, the type of gaslighter who employs bullying tactics, guilt-tripping, and emotional withholding to maintain control over their partner. This dynamic is often more recognizable yet equally destructive. The Intimidator's behavior includes yelling, belittling remarks, and the dreaded silent treatment. This creates an atmosphere where you may feel trapped, unsure of how to express your feelings without inciting an angry response. Despite any positive attributes he may possess, the treatment you endure can leave deep emotional scars. You might rationalize his behavior, thinking he's a good father or that his criticisms are valid, but beneath those layers lies a profound discomfort with how you're being treated. The challenge of intimidation. Being involved with an intimidator is fraught with challenges. The relationship may often feel like a power struggle, where your partner's emotional outbursts or silent treatment create a toxic environment. To navigate this dynamic successfully, both parties must acknowledge the problematic behaviors at play, gaslighting and intimidation. Addressing the intimidator's behavior, it's essential for the intimidator to recognize the impact of their actions. Acknowledging that their way of relating is harmful is the first step toward healthier interactions. They may need to explore underlying insecurities that drive their need to intimidate or control. Empowering yourself, as the recipient of intimidation, it's crucial to build your resilience. This might involve setting firm boundaries and learning how to stand up for yourself without resorting to avoidance strategies. Recognizing that you deserve respect is foundational in addressing intimidation. The gaslight culture, a broader context. Gaslighting doesn't exist in a vacuum, it thrives in the broader cultural context of our times. Today's climate is characterized by an overwhelming flood of information, much of it conflicting or misleading. The prevalence of fake news and alternate facts contributes to a societal atmosphere of uncertainty and anxiety, making individuals more susceptible to gaslighting. In this environment, it's easy to second-guess your perceptions and beliefs. When you're constantly bombarded with contradictory information, questioning your reality can become a habit. This cultural backdrop allows gaslighters to exploit vulnerabilities, further reinforcing the notion that you're overreacting or too sensitive. Navigating the intimidator and gaslight culture. To reclaim your power in the face of both an intimidator and a gaslighting culture, consider these strategies. Educate yourself. Understanding the dynamics of gaslighting and intimidation can help you recognize when these behaviors arise. Knowledge is a powerful tool for dismantling the confusion and doubt sown by gaslighters. Cultivate a support system. Surround yourself with trusted friends or family members who can provide clarity and validation. They can serve as sounding boards when you're grappling with self-doubt or confusion. Seek professional guidance. Therapy can be a vital resource in untangling the emotional complexities of gaslighting and intimidation. A professional can help you develop strategies to reclaim your voice and confidence. Practice mindfulness. Engaging in mindfulness practices can enhance your self-awareness and emotional regulation. This can empower you to respond thoughtfully in challenging situations rather than react out of fear or anxiety. Reaffirm your reality. Regularly remind yourself of your worth and validate your feelings. Keep a journal to document your experiences, helping you see patterns and affirm your truth over time. Conclusion. Navigating a relationship with an intimidator amidst a gaslight culture can feel like an uphill battle, but it's essential to remember that you are not alone. By recognizing the signs of gaslighting and intimidation, fostering your resilience, and seeking support, you can reclaim your narrative and foster healthier relationships. In a world rife with misinformation and emotional manipulation, standing firm in your reality is not just an act of defiance, it's an assertion of your inherent value and strength. The pain of gaslighting in a gaslight culture. Gaslighting is a deeply painful and complex experience, particularly when it occurs within the confines of an intimate relationship. Yet, it is not confined to personal interactions alone. We find ourselves immersed in a broader gaslight culture, a societal framework that encourages us to doubt our perceptions and accept imposed narratives. The influence of society. Every day, we are bombarded with messages from various sources that distort reality. Advertising. We are led to believe that a woman's worth is tied to her physical appearance, with ideals that often promote an unattainable standard, size 2 bodies and flawless makeup. This creates a sense of inadequacy and drives women to seek validation through appearance rather than intrinsic worth. Educational institutions. Schools advocate for the value of learning, yet they simultaneously emphasize grades and standardized test scores as the sole measures of success. This dual messaging fosters anxiety and reinforces the belief that one's intelligence and capabilities are defined solely by academic performance. Politics. Politicians frequently shift their narratives without acknowledging the contradictions, leaving the public in a haze of confusion. This inconsistency breeds distrust and reinforces the idea that reality is malleable based on those in power. In this gaslight culture, we are not only pressured to conform to external standards but are also subtly encouraged to ignore our own feelings and responses. Instead of exploring or creating our own realities, we find ourselves inundated with powerful messages demanding compliance with whatever is currently being marketed. The dynamics of gaslighting. In the context of gaslighting, the gaslighter operates from a place of deep insecurity. They need to be right to sustain their self-image and maintain a sense of control. Conversely, the gaslightee often idealizes the gaslighter and longs for their approval, which can lead to a dangerous cycle of dependency. Gaslighting occurs when the gaslightee, either consciously or unconsciously, tries to accommodate the gaslighter's distorted perceptions in hopes of winning their approval. This desire for validation can leave the gaslightee feeling incomplete and disempowered. Why do we go along with it? Two primary factors contribute to the gaslightee's compliance in these dynamics: fear of the emotional apocalypse and the urge to merge. Fear of the emotional apocalypse. The threat of an emotional apocalypse looms large in gaslighting relationships. Gaslighters often wield a hidden emotional weapon, a potential explosion of anger or disapproval that can devastate the atmosphere and leave the gaslightee reeling. This emotional fallout can be so severe that it leads to long-lasting distress. The aftermath of an emotional explosion can poison the relationship for weeks, creating an atmosphere fraught with tension and fear. Avoidance behaviors. In an effort to prevent this emotional eruption, the gaslightee may go to great lengths to appease the gaslighter, compromising their own needs and feelings in the process. This fear can create a cycle where the gaslightee becomes increasingly desperate to avoid confrontation, leading them to suppress their own reality to maintain a semblance of peace. The urge to merge. The urge to merge refers to the gaslightee's instinctual desire to connect with and be accepted by the gaslighter. This urge often stems from a fundamental need for love and validation, leading the gaslightee to internalize the gaslighter's views. They may begin to adopt the gaslighter's perspectives, even when those views conflict with their own experiences. Minimize their own feelings. In an effort to achieve harmony, the gaslightee may dismiss their own emotional responses, leading to a disconnection from their true selves. This drive to merge can further entrench the gaslightee in the gaslighting dynamic, as they sacrifice their own identity for the sake of the relationship. Breaking the cycle. Recognizing the existence of gaslighting and its pervasive influence in our relationships and society is the first step toward breaking the cycle. Here are a few strategies to reclaim your reality. Acknowledge your feelings, validate your own emotions and experiences. Understanding that your feelings are legitimate is crucial in combating gaslighting. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with those who engage in gaslighting behaviors. Communicate your needs and make it known that you won't tolerate disrespect or manipulation. Seek support. Surround yourself with trusted friends, family, or professionals who can provide clarity and affirmation. They can help you navigate the complexities of gaslighting and reinforce your sense of self-worth. Educate yourself. Learn more about gaslighting and its effects. Knowledge can empower you to recognize manipulative behaviors and defend your reality. Rebuild your identity. Engage in activities that promote self-discovery and self-worth. Cultivating hobbies, interests, and connections outside of the gaslighting relationship can help you reclaim your sense of self. Conclusion. Living in a gaslight culture while navigating personal gaslighting relationships can be incredibly challenging. However, by recognizing the dynamics at play, understanding the reasons behind compliance, and actively working to reclaim your reality, you can begin to break free from the grips of manipulation. You deserve to live authentically, embraced for who you truly are, and surrounded by relationships that honor and uplift your sense of self. Over-identification with the gaslighter. Your capacity for empathy may cause you to excessively prioritize the gaslighter's feelings over your own. This may lead to minimizing your needs and experiences, effectively silencing your voice to avoid conflict. Dependency on emotional reciprocity. The desire for empathy and understanding can make you vulnerable to manipulation, as you might overlook harmful behaviors in favor of maintaining the emotional connection you crave. The explanation trap. The explanation trap refers to the tendency to rationalize or explain away behaviors that should be cause for concern, including gaslighting. Rationalization of red flags. When you notice disturbing behaviors, instead of acknowledging them as warning signs, you might find justifications to dismiss them. This often stems from a deep-seated desire for the relationship to succeed in the hope that it will fulfill your emotional needs. Idealizing the gaslighter. The need for validation can lead you to ignore unpleasant truths about the gaslighter's actions, which reinforces the cycle of gaslighting. This rationalization can prevent you from addressing critical issues within the relationship. The negotiation trap. The negotiation trap is a variation of the explanation trap, particularly common among those involved with good-guy gaslighters. Focusing on negotiation over satisfaction. Instead of assessing overall happiness in the relationship, you may become fixated on how successfully you can negotiate or communicate your needs. This can lead to a cycle of second-guessing your feelings and compromising your desires. Validation through compromise. In the quest to maintain peace and harmony, you might prioritize pleasing the gaslighter over your own happiness. This focus on negotiation can result in neglecting your needs, further entrenching you in the gaslighting dynamic. Breaking free from the traps. To break free from these traps, consider the following strategies. Cultivate self-awareness. Acknowledge your feelings and experiences without needing to justify them to others. Understand that your emotions are valid and deserve recognition. Practice assertiveness. Learn to express your needs and boundaries confidently. Assertiveness can help you communicate your feelings without fear of retribution. Seek clarity. Instead of rationalizing distressing behaviors, confront them head-on. Maintain a journal to track your experiences, which can help you see patterns and recognize when something is wrong. Limit empathetic overreach. While empathy is essential, ensure it doesn't come at the expense of your own emotional well-being. Practice self-compassion and prioritize your feelings. Evaluate relationship satisfaction. Regularly assess how the relationship makes you feel overall. If you find yourself consistently unhappy or anxious, it may be time to reevaluate your connection. Conclusion. Navigating a gaslighting relationship is a multifaceted struggle that can leave you feeling powerless and confused. However, By understanding the dynamics at play, the fear, the urge to merge, and the various traps, you can begin to reclaim your voice and your reality. Prioritizing your emotional health and well-being is essential to breaking free from gaslighting, allowing you to cultivate healthier, more authentic relationships. You deserve to be seen, heard, and validated for who you truly are, without the shadow of manipulation looming overhead. Navigating the power of fantasy in gaslighting relationships. In many relationships, particularly those marked by gaslighting, the power of fantasy can significantly shape our perceptions and choices. It's crucial to recognize how these fantasies influence your feelings and decisions, often leading to a distorted reality that can trap you in unhealthy dynamics. The illusion of the soulmate. Many people find themselves clinging to the belief that their gaslighter is their soulmate, the one person they cannot live without. This fantasy can be intoxicating, often clouding your judgment and leading you to overlook red flags. The belief that this person completes you, you may feel that without them, you are incomplete or incapable of happiness. This notion can keep you from confronting the uncomfortable truth about their behavior. You can change them. The fantasy of a loving partner who will eventually change their ways can lead to prolonged suffering. You might convince yourself that if you just endure a little longer, they will recognize your worth. The myth of friends forever. Fantasies of enduring friendships can also play a significant role in gaslighting relationships. You may hold on to the idea that shared history equates to loyalty. Memories of past companionship can create a powerful bond, making it difficult to let go, even when the friendship becomes toxic. You might find yourself rationalizing hurtful behaviors based on the years spent together. Friendship means unconditional support. The belief that friends should always uplift and support one another can blind you to the reality of a harmful dynamic. You might ignore how the friendship drains your energy and self-worth. Professional aspirations and gaslighting. When it comes to professional relationships, fantasies can also distort your perceptions. Climbing the corporate ladder, you may feel that leaving a toxic boss equates to abandoning your career goals, leading to a sense of obligation that traps you in a detrimental work environment. The fear of losing opportunities can overshadow your well-being. Fear of selling out. The belief that staying in a toxic situation is a testament to your dedication can keep you from pursuing healthier options. You may convince yourself that enduring the gaslighting is necessary for career advancement. The influence of family dynamics. Family relationships often come with powerful fantasies that can complicate your feelings. Owed loyalty. The belief that you owe everything to your parents or siblings can create an emotional obligation that keeps you tethered to unhealthy dynamics. You may feel that leaving means abandoning your roots or failing familial expectations. Desire for unconditional love. The longing for an all-powerful family member to care for you can lead to disillusionment. This fantasy can cause you to overlook their harmful behavior, hoping that love will eventually manifest in a more positive way. Recognizing the role of fantasy. It's essential to differentiate between fantasy and reality in gaslighting relationships. Acknowledge your feelings. Pay attention to your emotional responses. If you feel consistently unsatisfied or anxious, it's crucial to recognize these feelings as valid, rather than dismissing them in favor of a more palatable fantasy. Challenge idealized views. When thoughts of your gaslighter surface, critically evaluate them. Are these thoughts rooted in reality, or are they part of a fantasy that obscures the truth of your situation? Ground yourself in reality. Focus on your present experiences rather than idealized memories or future hopes. Grounding yourself can help you break free from the grip of fantasy and see your situation more clearly. Seek support. Discuss your feelings and experiences with trusted friends or professionals who can provide an outside perspective. This support can help you disentangle your emotions from the fantasies that have taken hold. Moving forward with clarity. Recognizing the power of fantasy in your relationships is a vital step toward healing and empowerment. By understanding how these illusions influence your choices, you can begin to reclaim your emotional reality and move toward healthier connections. All the best on your journey. Don't settle for anything less than a fulfilling and respectful relationship. Embrace your authenticity and pursue connections that genuinely nourish your spirit. Remember, living with passion and purpose is within your reach. Trust in your worth and take the necessary steps toward a brighter, more empowered future.